No, I went up to try it. He's stuck in there. I kept trying.
Like every meeting is really
Abby, good job on this, by the way.
Amazing.
You like it? So much fun.
Anybody? Does everybody have a handout? Perfect. Going one? Okay. So how many of you, I'm sure probably all of you have, but how many of you use the new phone number form?
I don't have a choice.
The new phone number for refill. It's in the refill too. Okay. So we're just going to kind of go through it and just kind of show you guys how it works. Explain the kind of, I'll try to reiterate Dr. Aversa's vision behind it. It probably explains to you a lot better than I can. So you can find this new form in 3 different places. It's under the phone note button. When you click the phone note button, it'll come up. Under the refill button, and also when you do an e-script, I think that's what it's called. It's under there as well. So it'll pull up when you select that encounter type. So we're just going to open up a phone note. There's been a couple additions over the last couple days on this form, just from being out in the clinics and getting some feedback from you guys. We added the cell phone back into the form because a lot of people said that that was really important to have and to see. So we added that back in there. So on the first page, it's going to open up. It's going to be the situation tab. Here you're going to enter all the basic call info that you did before in the phone note, whether the call is inbound or outbound, who the provider is, the caller. We also did add care providers MA. So if you're calling on behalf of your provider, you would choose that one. And then the description. All of these fields are really important because it allows us to run reports and find trends of why people are calling in, so that way we can maybe rework workflows if necessary. Maybe a certain provider is missing something consistently in the visit. So we can run reports and see, let's say that a provider doesn't ever or forgets a lot to ask if a patient needs refills on any other medications that they may not be there for at the visit. We can see by the call description that that provider's calls are consistently regarding refills within a few days after the visit or within a month after the visit. So we can kind of trend that and help providers and staff to give better patient care during the visit. The next section on here is the reason for contact. This should be the only place that you document in this form. We really, just like the old phone note, you should always stay in order. It's always going to start in here, so you always want to continue typing in that box. It's got a lot of lines in it. We've given you a lot of space. You shouldn't run out. If for some reason you do, please let me know and I will add more. You have run out already of space? Yeah. Interesting, because there's like 20 lines there. Like 20 lines, which gives you really a lot. So,
But that's where all the back and forth goes.
20 lines in the editor that I use is really like a lot more than 20 lines. So, but I will definitely add more space. That's not a problem.
Okay.
And then the reason that it's, what was that?
Because with each correspondence, you end up skipping a line to add something new, and then you skip a line to
Right.
add something new.
But like I said, 20 lines is really like
a lot.
50 or 60 in here. Probably is more than that, but the reason I say it's really important to keep all correspondence in this box is because of this box down here. This is this box is always going to pull in the last reason for call. So whatever was in this area on the last call or the last note is going to populate here. Sometimes that'll help because sometimes you guys have to refer back to other notes, and so that will help you to not have to go out of the note and back and look in the documents. So it's really important to keep all the correspondence in the note in here. So I will go in and add lines if that's needed. So, and then down here, these are all accessible on the background tab, but if for some reason while you're on the situation tab you need to look at their medication list, their problems list, allergies, or enter orders, you can do that here by just clicking on these buttons. Okay, so in the background tab, we wanted to give you enough information to be able to document as much as you could before sending the note to provider without having to dig through the chart. So you've got the last blood pressure, the last physical, last appointment, next appointment. The recall plan, how many of you know about the providers can add in what we call ad hoc recalls? Have you guys ever heard of that? Yeah? Okay. So some of you have it looks like. So I'm sure most of you are aware, we have a recall program that we use, and we run recalls monthly. So the ad hoc recalls are the recalls that the providers say, okay, I know this patient isn't due for through recall system, for another 4 months for a diabetes check, but I really want to see him in 2 months. They can put in a recall and it goes into that system and it'll recall them early. So that's what that is. So that's what this is. If the provider has put in, this will show up the last ad hoc recall that they've done and the date that they were supposed to be due for it. So this is put in by the provider. So it might be an old one, but it's just going to show the last one. So if it's not current, then you don't need to worry about it. Their protocols are going to show up, what they're due for. We are working on this to make it we're having issues. Dr. Versa had written some code to make it a lot more understandable for you guys, and so a lot more easy to get through. For some reason, that code's not working in there, so we're using this for right now until we can get it working. But it's still, a good resource to use. And then this tab, this box will bring up that data tab, which gives you all of their most of their last labs that you need to look at, and their last immunizations.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
Okay. You can also, if you're going through with the patient and you notice that maybe something needs to be updated on their problem list, Dr. Versa has approved of, put this on here so you guys can definitely update the problem list and medication list as needed with the patient on the phone. The medication list does display the last refill date, so you don't have to go look under the medications tab for that. And then, as you can see, the reason for contact box is across all the tabs. And if once you type in it, it'll show up in every tab. So you're never going to lose your information based on what tab you're on. In the recommendations tab, we tried to put some pre-selected text in there for you so that you can just check it, and that can be your documentation if you don't need anything else. Or just added documentation for you. But these were some of the things that when Deanna and Dr. Versa and I were talking about this and building this, that we felt were important areas to make sure that you check before you hang up the phone with the patient or before you end that note. So making sure that the patient knows if they're due for preventative care services or labs, and then the orders button if you need to enter orders for that. Making sure that if they need follow-up appointments or need a planned appointment, so again, putting in the recall, you can do that by clicking the Add Recall button. It's going to bring up the recall form. You can choose from the pre-selected text down here, or you can enter your own if it's something that they need to come in for that's not on there. You can choose the date.
I don't have to use phone notes anymore, flags anymore.
No, you can just throw them in yourself. Yep.
Okay, but I have a question about the flags. When you're converting a flag into a phone note, how come it doesn't show up? How come the flag doesn't show up in
this format?
In the box.
That's something I'll have to look into. I didn't even think about that when I was loading the form in there, so I'll definitely.
My doctor sends me flags only, so I convert.
We need to teach her how to do that.
I can try.
But no, I will definitely look into it and see. It's been a very long time since I converted flag to a phone note, so I don't even really remember how at this moment. But I will look into it for you.
Even the old ones never populated in the phone note itself.
The old, oh, into the box. So maybe instead of converting it into a phone note, just copy and paste it and start your text that way in the phone note form. Because yeah, you are right.
Yeah,
It did populate in there anyway, and we want it to be in that box. So
I have a question, Abby, regarding the tab for labs and preventative care needed.
yes.
And then you said that there's the orders tab. Will it allow you to sign that off even if you click that? Say you click that top one, patient needs labs, but you don't put any orders in. Is it going to let you sign that off without actually doing the orders?
Yeah, you can sign off the note without doing the orders. So, because some patients may have standing, like, orders in thyroid, things like that the lab sometimes I think just puts in. Again, I don't know the workflow exactly, but,
Well, yes and no.
okay. So, I mean, I guess that's just, if you, I mean, that's something to think about. If you're telling a patient they need to come in for labs, you should probably enter the orders in, right?
Yeah.
Okay, there.
I would appreciate it not allowing you to sign it off if you're clicking that they need orders, but not putting orders in.
I'll see if
Not
that's
to let you sign
possible,
it off
but
until you do that step.
it might not be necessarily that they needed labs. Maybe they needed preventative care, maybe they needed a physical. So we can't, if you check that box and say they needed preventive care, then you don't really need to enter any orders in for a physical. Does that make sense? So,
It's something to explore. Maybe it would be something to explore.
no, I'll definitely look into it. It would just be something that I would need to maybe talk with Dr. Burst about and see his thoughts before I.
I know, didn't he say that he wanted providers making more of an effort to enter orders and whatnot too?
Yeah, definitely.
Working on that aspect might aid in that portion of it.
Okay.
The words wellness exam with the preventative?
Yes. I have my notebook for this. And then refills entered and the pharmacy for this counter was updated. So if the patient, you get through and if the patient's calling in for something else and they, oh, I need a refill too, you can enter in the refills here. This just takes you to the prescriptions tab.
So as of right now, you do have to get out of the phone number to do a refill kind of thing, or
Get out of the,
if it's
well, you just have to click on the refill button to pull up this tab. It's not, so you're in the phone note and it's already a form that's loaded into the note. So you just click on this button and it brings up that page. If you updated the medications or problems list, you're going to want to click on that. And then the patient has been informed. This is really important because we're really trying to push secure messaging hard right now. It's a great feature. There's no reason that patients shouldn't be trying to use it. There's no reason that we shouldn't be pushing it to our patients to use. Obviously, if somebody's just really adamant about not using it, don't push it to them. But we should really push on our patients as much as we can to use secure messaging. It's a great tool. It's gonna probably sometimes give them faster responses. They're not playing phone tag, things like that. So we want to really make sure that we document and we also tell the patient that your response may come through secure messaging, depending on what it's regarding. And then these are just forms that were in the other note. I don't really know what they're used for, but apparently they were used. So they're still in there. They were asked to be put back in there. So. And then the pain management, giving you the information. I know what that was for. I made that one. Giving you the information on the narcotic agreement, things like that. Okay, so that's the recommendations tab. Any other questions on that one? Okay, and then the last tab is the refill protocols. This is that refill assist. We decided to go ahead and add it as its own tab in here. You may see additions to this, modifications, things like that, as we develop more with the refill protocols. But this is just the starting point for you guys. So that's just something that we wanted to make sure that was in there for you as well, that you could. I think the thought was that some medications you guys can refill without going to a provider, so having this in there kind of lets you know what needs to be done with that. Any questions? Joanne,
It doesn't all have together tab, but
which one?
I'm specifically asking about the triangulation stuff.
Okay.
That doesn't look familiar to me. I was just wondering.
It was in the phone note. Like I said, I didn't ever know that it was used, but I was asked to keep it. I don't remember who asked me.
I didn't know it was there. Is there, can that possibly be changed to the one we actually use?
Yeah, if there's a different form that needs to go there, we can definitely change it. Actually,
Because Lynn and I would just love when like we would get calls from maybe another facility or somewhere else, saying patients INR is 3.8 or whatever. So instead of having it just typed out in the phone note, we would really like it to actually go into the, the human clinic form. And then we can take it from there and do our adjustment if everything goes in that form. Because currently the one that you're showing now, all that does is, there's nowhere to enter anything other than like from a provider or myself to give what the answer is, but there's nowhere for anyone to put the numbers in.
Okay.
So we'll go into the phone.
I probably don't have the same.
I was looking for the remote desktop assistant, but I don't see it.
Yeah.
We're just gonna I'm gonna do it right now. And we're all here. We'll make a couple of these changes, but so that way I don't forget. Just ask Angela.
We all know you're some word here.
Have you done before in the beginning? Angela's asking me to say